Ever wanted a kill team to smash through walls, throw squigs like living grenades, and still somehow claw victory out of the chaos? That's the Wrecka Crew. Loud, dangerous, unpredictable. Stick around because in this breakdown, we'll dive deep into their roster, tricks, how to turn their Orky anarchy into cold, hard wins. So what makes the Wrecka Crew special? They're built for close-range dominance, raw damage, brutal charges, and explosive utility all collide. Here's the roster you're working with. Boss Knob, the leader, your hammer and centerpiece. The fighter, the bread and butter melee. Crusher, tank bruiser with staying power. Demolisher, brings the take hammer, a one-shot wrecking ball. Gunner, reliable ranged punch. Rocketeer, blast damage, punishes clumps. 2 bomb squigs required, fragile but nasty trade pieces. That's 8 off-greaves total. Fewer than many teams, which means every move counts. I remember the first game with them. I rushed 2 bomb squids up the flank thinking it was expendable. My opponent wasted 2 activations just to remove it because the threat was too scary to ignore. That tiny distraction let my boss knob crash through the center and grab the momentum. The Wrecka Crew in a nutshell, they make your opponent panic, and panic leads to mistakes. The Wrecka Crew thrive on pressure and tempo. Their rules give them the tools to turn failed hits into successa with Wrecka points, chain aggressive activations use employees like Papa Scrap, and to physically reshape the battlefield by breaking terrain. That means you don't just play the mission, you change it. But there's a catch. With only 8 models, lose 2 operatives early and you're limping. So your challenge is to balance how do you unleash carnage without burning yourself out. And that's what we'll hit next. Deployment and opening turns, the exact patterns that let Wrecka Crew survive the early game and set up the brutal mid-game swing. Because if you get that wrong, this team goes from wrecking to wrecked. If the Wrecka Crew win deployment, they win tempo. If they lose deployment, they're just a pile of loud orcs waiting to get shot off the board. So let's break down how to set up turn 1 so you wreck your opponent's plan before the game even begins. 2-wave deployment. Shockwave, fast, aggressive. The models you intend to threaten objectives, force enemy responses, or trade in early game. Fighters, gunners, bomb swigs. The anchor wave, heavy hitters, boss knob, crusher, demolisher. Place backing up, shock, ready to charge or react. You don't want your heavy hitters stuck in the back with no path forward. But you also don't want them first into danger. Let the shock wave pin decisions for your opponent, and then let the anchor collapse on enemies whenever lines open up. Next, we got flank and center trade. If your opponent defends the center tightly, push flanks with your shockwave. If they overcommit to flanks, contest center. Use your heavies to break through. Use terrain. Deploy near cover. Not so close you can't charge. Use blocking terrain to shield your advance. Use bomb swigs as pressure pieces. Always deploy them where they force enemy reactions. They may die, but that's often okay. Their explosion and threat often pays tempo. Think of them as early gambits. Do you waste actions on them or let them go? Threaten objectives. Don't leave objectives undefended. Use your shockwave to threaten immediate presence. Even if you can't fully contest right away, force opponents to respond. Generate Wrecka points early on. Use shooting or explosions units to gain Wrecka points, rolling 6s early. Those points will fuel your big plans later. Be aggressive with your shots, even if they're marginal. Better to farm points than leave stuff on the board. On the board, use abilities like break stuff to punch holes in terrain. Open alternative lanes. Don't let the map barricade you in. Use your fighters early to break soft walls or remove small obstacles. Avoid overcommitment. Don't send all your heavy units in on turn 1. Let the opponent overreact, then punish them. Keep at least 1 responder in reserve to count flank or exploit openings. Force decisions, make them guess. Present multiple threats. If they defend one zone, you hit another. If they bring strong units to counter, flank them. Use bomb squigs, your range operatives, or even decoy move to pull forces in. Here's some tactical what-ifs. What if they push a heavy to cover your objective? Then shift your anchor to counter and pressure their flank. What if they ignore your squigs? Let them die, but ensure they distract or create space for you. What if your shockwave is stalled? Delay your anchor wave. Hold them in cover and wait for openings rather than charging into knives. APL and tanked up rule, because your operatives default to APL 2. You need to shoot or fight early on to upgrade them to APL 3 via tanked up. Path to glory. Don't rely solely on range shots. In dense cover maps, your gunner may struggle. Prioritize movement. Be careful with the bomb squigs near enemy units with strong explosion reaction or countercharge threats. All right, let's recap. Deploy in 2 waves, shock and anchor. Threaten objectives early. Force responses. Generate Wrecka points early as you can. Use break stuff to open map lanes. Don't overcommit. Maintain flexibility. If you nail deployment and turn 1, your mid-game becomes control, which leads into turning point 3, mid-game strategy and momentum. Wrecka Crew don't win games on turn 1. They win games in mid-game. When every scrap, every squig, and every wall you've smashed suddenly tilts the table in your favor. This is where chaos turns into control. If you know how to keep the momentum rolling, by now deployment is over. Early trades are done, the board is messy. This is where Wrecka Crew shines, because they thrive in chaos. Key mid-game priorities. Tempo control. Keep pushing so your opponent is always reacting. Wrecka points. Spend points. They swing turns, not just pad dice. Anchor activation. Your boss knob and crush it should hit their stride here. They were waiting in Act 2. Now it's their time to crash in. Shock trades. Fighters and bomb squigs either die gloriously or force huge overreaction. Either way, they buy time for your heavies to hit. Picture this. Your shock fighter survives turn 1 and holds an objective. Your opponent pushes 2 operatives forward to clear it. Now your crusher smashes in from behind. Suddenly, they're outnumbered. Your demolisher follows up with the tank hammer. Swing then deletes their elites. That's momentum. You didn't just hold an objective, you flipped the whole tempo of the game. Tactical tools for momentum. Chain fights with proper scrap. Use ploys to fight twice if the board is bunched up. Break stuff to open paths. Don't let terrain stall your advance. Open new routes. Force bad activations. Threaten 2 zones so your opponent's best fighters can only handle 1. Rocketeer pressure. Mid-game is a sweet spot for blast damage. Punish enemies who clump to avoid melee. I had a game where an opponent thought they were safe turtling 2 Marines around an objective. I had a game where 2 opponents thought they were safe turtling 2 Marines around an objective. One well-placed Rocketeer with kaboom forced them both out of cover. Next activation, my boss knob was in their face. Suddenly, their safe spot was anything but. That's what Wrecka Crew do. They break the illusion of safety. And if the mid-game is about building momentum, the next phase is about finishing fights. Because close combat and kill team isn't just rolling dice. It's a deadly dance. So in turning point 4, I'll show you how to parry, strike, and chain kills so your scrap turns into a stomp. Here's the truth. Wrecka Crew don't ask for close combat. They live there. But raw dice don't win scraps. Kill team melee is a deadly dance. And the Wrecka Crew lead with a sledgehammer. Let's talk about how to parry, smash, and turn every fight into a highlight reel. In close quarters, armor saves don't matter. It's attack dice versus defense choices. That means even a tanky elite can crumble if you manage the dance right. Wrecka Crew advantages. High damage melee weapons like Tank Hammer and Smash Hammer. Ploys like WAAAGH that turn Orky dice into consistent hits. Wrecka points to flip misses into hits at the clutch moment. Their weaknesses? Low model count, trade badly in melee, and you'll run out of bodies fast. Parry, burst, inflict. Don't autopilot. Sometimes canceling a hit saves your leader. Other times, go full offense and wipe the board. Multi-model engagement. Funnel enemies into choke points. So one of your heavies fights one enemy at a time, or use Papa Scrap to chain fight if they clump. Sacrifice squid plays. Yes, bomb squids explode hilariously, but timing them in melee scrums can flip the odds. I once had a boss knob charge in with a smash hammer only to roll snake eyes. Total disaster, right? But I had Wrecka points banked. Flip those misses and hit. Suddenly the boss knob swimming for the fences and my opponent's elite is plop. The look on their face, priceless. That's why you always want to keep a few Wrecka points in your pocket. Close combat with Wrecka Crew is like an orc mosh pit. Loud, messy. And someone's definitely losing teeth. But if you time your strikes, It's their teeth and not yours.